Turn, turn, turn. Okay, go up the hill. That's enough. Go back a little bit. Okay, watch where you're going. Turn towards the treehouse. Turn towards the treehouse. Turn more. You're gonna hit the tree. Turn more, turn more, turn more. Up, go back a little bit. You're doing a beautiful job. You're a regular driver.
That you are?
Huh?
That you are?
You're a really good driver. Go over there towards your brother. Go by your brother. Cedar took Cheyenne to girls' camp for the next 2.5 days, and I thought this would be a great time to fulfill my obligations to my kids. For the last 2.5 years, I've been telling them that I would build them some sort of a tree house up here at the property. This all started by clearing off this particular patch of ground. If we want it to go like this, where we're looking right down at the house, what I'm going to try and do is dig some of the dirt out of the hill and make a flat spot. And I'm going to try and make it big enough to where we have room for a slide.
I want to try hammering.
Okay, keep going. Hang on, yes. Okay, Rat. Callie would get her markers out and draw her version of what she thought the playhouse / treehouse should look like. I could tell she was very interested in this, and I felt like it was time to get this done. I'd been telling them that once the house was finished, I would focus on the treehouse. Now, originally this was going to go in the big Douglas fir right next to the house, but obviously that's gone. So I know that technically it's not a tree house, but by putting them right in between a couple of maple trees, they should have good shade, and it's a beautiful spot looking down on the property. Now, really, the most expensive part of this whole deal was these posts. I ran down to the local big box store and dropped about $100 on 4 of these posts and some screws. But really, everything else I've got laying around. I've got a whole bunch of lumber that I was able to get last year from my buddy Josh Pilch when we went and cleaned up that old homestead down in Provo. So other than this post and the screws, we really shouldn't have a whole lot tied up in this thing. I made the suggestion that we could make a sandbox underneath the playhouse, and the kids thought this was the best idea ever. Now, a beautiful thing happened along the way. I asked Rhett to help me and decided that rather than having him do the grunt jobs like he usually would, I thought I would get him a little bit more involved. And he started working in ways that I'd never seen him work before. It really got me thinking. Now, like most boys his age, when I ask him to mow the yard, he sighs, but he gets it done. But when it came to some of the hard work that was required, digging holes, or cutting wood, or hauling wood, or whatever we needed to do to get this thing going, he did it with a smile. Not only did he do this with a smile, but he put in long days with me. I can say the same thing about Reed. Reed worked everywhere he could and had a blast along the way. but it's caused me to do some thinking about Rhett. When Rhett was about 7 years old, my wife leaned over to me and told me that she asked Rhett to tell her the hymn numbers on the wall about 75 feet away, and he couldn't read any of them. I questioned what she said, and I told her I would get to the bottom of it after church. When the meeting ended, I sat there with Rhett, and I told him that I would give him some sort of a reward, like a candy bar or something, if he would just read me the 3 numbers up front on the wall. And he started crying, and I knew this was more serious than I thought. We progressively got closer to the front of the church until he could read the numbers. We stopped about 10 feet away. In this moment, I had a reckoning of sorts. I began to think about the number of times that I got after him for sitting too close to the TV. I began to think about the number of times that I asked him to play catch or to shoot baskets, and he wasn't interested. All of a sudden, everything made sense. There was quite a bit of guilt involved with this moment. I grew up going to every basketball camp that my dad could find in the summers and playing ball with my brothers every chance we got. He just didn't seem to have an interest in it like I did, but this helped me understand why. We very quickly got him to a doctor and got glasses for him, and everything changed. Rhett's one of the smartest kids that I know at his age, but he's very unique. I've said it before, he's passionate about being him. He's a lot like his old man in the sense that he's unique and independent. He's not interested in conforming. Watching him work with me was a beautiful thing. I decided to call out the numbers to the boards that I needed cut and have him cut all the boards versus simply doing it myself because it was faster. And the truth is, with me standing up on top, nailing the boards off, and him cutting them, we got a tremendous amount of work done in just a short period of time. We were all exhausted at the end of the day. I'd hoped we'd get it finished today, but there's always tomorrow. But what I will say is, while clearing the grass and weeds on the hillside for the treehouse, I found 5 more plum trees. Although it's not a great time to transplant, I have to get it done. They were right in the way and I didn't want them to get damaged. Based on the other plum trees around the ranch, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful year for plums. These Potawatomi plum trees are very small, but they're very tasty. Two years ago, Cedar made a plum jelly that my kids still talk about. I'm fairly certain we'll have some plum jelly again this year. But my hope is that I can transplant about 15 or 20 of these plum trees across the front of our property, and this will give us a buffer between the road and our home. Because this road does go to Forest Service, on the weekends it gets fairly well traveled. It would be nice to keep the noise down and also have bearing fruit trees. So the end result is I've got 1 tree that was naturally here, a few more that I transplanted last year that are doing great, then 5 new trees. About 4 of the trees that I transplanted last year I lost when I was doing the septic system, so I'm happy to have these back in the ground. Tomorrow we'll get back up here and finish the playhouse, and hopefully surprise Callie in the process.